Every night, you enter another reality. You see people who are not there. You walk through places that do not exist. You have conversations that never happened. Sometimes you're terrified. Sometimes you fall in love. Sometimes you meet people who have been dead for years. And while it is happening, your brain rarely stops to ask whether any of it is real. Then you wake up, and within minutes, most of that world begins to disappear. We usually treat dreams like meaningless noise, strange movies created by a sleeping brain. But what if they are doing something far more important? What if dreams help shape your memories, process your emotions, rehearse danger, solve problems, and reveal something deeply strange about consciousness itself? Because every night your brain does something that should probably seem much more bizarre to us than it does. It creates an entire world and then convinces you that you're living inside it. Over an ordinary lifetime, you may spend years experiencing dreams, years inside places that never physically existed, talking to people who were never actually standing in front of you, running from threats that were never there, and almost all of it will eventually disappear from memory. So why would the brain create all of this in the first place? To understand that, we have to start with what happens when you fall asleep. Your brain does not simply shut down. Throughout the night, it moves through different stages, and during one of the strangest REM sleep, your brain can become highly active, your eyes move beneath your eyelids, your breathing changes, dreams can become vivid. But something else happens. Much of your body is temporarily prevented from moving. Your brain can make you believe you're sprinting while your legs remain almost completely still. And sometimes that system gets the timing wrong. Your mind wakes up before the paralysis disappears. You open your eyes, you know you are awake, but you cannot move. You cannot sit up. Sometimes you cannot even call for help. This is sleep paralysis. And for some people, it becomes even more terrifying. They see figures, shadows, faces, something standing beside the bed. The dream is beginning to fade, but parts of it seem to follow them into the room. For centuries, people interpreted experiences like this as demons, spirits, witches, or supernatural attacks. Today, we know that waking consciousness and dreamlike imagery can briefly overlap, but knowing the explanation does not make the experience much less frightening. And dreams do not only leak out into waking life. Sometimes waking life leaks into dreams. Imagine an alarm starts ringing beside your bed. You are still asleep. Instead of waking immediately, your brain takes the sound and gives it a new explanation. The alarm becomes a telephone inside your dream, or a siren, or music playing somewhere in the distance. The real sound entered your sleeping brain, and your brain rewrote the dream around it. That should tell us something. The sleeping brain is not simply showing you pictures, it is constantly building a story, and memory may be one of the raw materials. Every day, you experience far more information than you could consciously remember. Faces, voices, conversations, tiny details you barely noticed. Sleep plays an important role in learning and memory, but dreams rarely replay your memories accurately. Instead, they tear them apart and rebuild them. You might be standing inside your childhood home, but your current boss lives there. You walk through the kitchen and suddenly arrive at an airport. Someone you met yesterday is talking to a friend you have not seen in 15 years. The pieces are real. The combination is impossible. Dreams seem to remix your life, and that may be why strange connections sometimes appear while we sleep. People have reported waking from dreams with melodies, ideas, stories, and solutions to problems. One famous example involves chemist Dmitry Mendeleev, who described seeing an arrangement resembling the periodic table in a dream after spending years thinking about how the elements should be organized. The dream did not magically give him knowledge he never had. His brain already had the pieces. It may simply have arranged them differently, which raises an interesting possibility. Sometimes you stop working on a problem when you go to sleep, but your brain may not. Dreams also seem obsessed with another part of life, emotion. People dream about exams long after leaving school. They dream about being late, being rejected, getting lost, losing someone, being chased, showing up somewhere completely unprepared. You can wake up devastated by something that never happened. The event was fictional. The emotion was not. Stress from waking life often appears in dreams, even when it returns in a completely different form. A difficult relationship becomes an argument with someone else. Fear of losing control becomes a car with no brakes. Anxiety about failure becomes an exam you somehow forgot existed. This does not mean every dream contains a secret message. There is probably no universal dictionary where snakes always mean one thing and falling teeth always mean another. But dreams can reflect what matters to us emotionally. And then there are nightmares. You can be lying completely safe in bed while your brain convinces your body that you're in danger. Your heart races, your breathing changes, fear floods through you, nothing is actually chasing you, but your nervous system reacts to what the brain believes is happening. Some researchers have proposed that dreaming may sometimes help simulate threatening situations, a kind of rehearsal space where danger can be experienced without real consequences. For most of human history, threats were not abstract. Predators existed, enemies existed, accidents happened. Recognizing danger quickly mattered. Maybe dreaming helped practice some of those responses. But there is another mystery hiding inside almost every dream. You are incredibly easy to fool. Think about how absurd dreams can become. You walk into your house and suddenly you are at school. Your friend has a completely different face. You start flying. A person who died years ago is standing beside you. You breathe underwater. You're somehow 20 years younger, and most of the time, you do not question any of it. That may be stranger than the dream itself. Impossible things happen around you, and the brain simply accepts them. But occasionally, something changes. You notice. You look around and think, wait, this is a dream. That is lucid dreaming. And suddenly the world your brain created is still there, but now you know it is fake. Some lucid dreamers can begin controlling parts of the experience. They fly, change locations, walk through walls, summon people, ask dream characters questions. But here is where lucid dreaming becomes genuinely strange. Researchers have managed to communicate with people while they were lucid dreaming. A sleeping person could be given a simple question. The dreamer could understand it, and in some experiments, respond using predetermined eye movements. Think about what that means. Someone is lying asleep in a laboratory inside their mind. They are experiencing another world, and from inside that dream, they can send information back to someone who is awake. It sounds like communicating with someone inside a simulation, except the simulation is being generated by their own brain, and there is an even stranger question hiding inside that. If your brain created the dream, what exactly realized it was a dream, the same brain generated the illusion, and somehow produced an observer capable of seeing through it. Sometimes the brain creates an illusion that is even harder to catch. You wake up, get out of bed, walk across the room, maybe check your phone. Everything feels normal, then suddenly you wake up again. The first awakening never happened. It was another dream. This is called a false awakening. Your brain can create such a convincing copy of waking reality that you can dream about waking up without realizing you are still asleep. Some people even experience several false awakenings in a row. Wake up, still dreaming. Wake up again, still dreaming. At that point, the obvious question becomes uncomfortable. How do you actually know when something feels real? And that leads us to the part of dreaming humans have obsessed over for thousands of years. Can dreams predict the future? Someone dreams about an old friend. The next day that person calls. Someone dreams about an accident. Something similar happens later. Someone sees a place in a dream, and then years later feels certain they have finally arrived there. Stories like this are incredibly powerful because the match feels personal, but you dream thousands of times across your life. Most dreams are forgotten. If enough dreams happen, some are eventually going to resemble events that occur later. The strange dream that predicts nothing disappears. The one that seems to come true becomes unforgettable. But there may be another explanation for some predictive feeling dreams. Your brain constantly processes information you are not consciously thinking about. A subtle change in someone's behavior, a strange sound coming from your car, tension developing between two people, someone looking tired or unwell. You may not consciously connect those clues. Your brain still received them. So a dream may sometimes appear to predict the future, when your brain was actually noticing the present before you consciously understood it. Maybe the dream does not know what is going to happen. Maybe it knows something that you do not yet realize, you know? Ancient humans had very different explanations. Dreams were messages from gods, warnings, visions, visits from the dead. Ancient Mesopotamians recorded dreams. Egyptians interpreted them. Greeks debated their meaning. Kings and rulers sometimes made decisions based on what they believed dreams were telling them. Some of humanity's oldest writings contain dreams and attempts to understand them. Thousands of years before humans knew about neurons or REM sleep, we were already asking the same question. Why does another world appear when we close our eyes? Science has explained many pieces of sleep, but one part remains surprisingly difficult. Why is there an experience at all? The brain could process memories without showing you a story. It could regulate emotion without creating a monster. It could organize information without putting you inside an imaginary building. Yet dreams are experienced. They feel like something, and that pushes the mystery beyond sleep. It pushes it toward consciousness itself, because dreams reveal something extraordinary. Your brain does not need the outside world to create the experience of being inside a world. It can create a sky without seeing one, a voice when nobody is speaking, music when the room is silent, fear when there is no danger movement while your body lies still, people who are not there, and a version of you standing among them. Even dream characters can surprise you. You can ask someone in a dream a question and genuinely not know what they are about to say. Then they answer. There's just one problem. Your brain created the person asking the question, and your brain created the person answering it. Somehow it can hide its own answer from you, and then reveal it as though another person thought of it. Dreams show just how much of conscious experience happens outside the part of the mind that feels like you. And then every morning, something almost as strange happens. You wake up. The dream is still fresh. You remember the people, the room, the conversation. Maybe you think, I need to remember this. Then a few minutes pass. You check your phone, stand up, start thinking about the day, and the dream begins collapsing. Faces disappear, locations blur, whole conversations vanish. An experience that felt completely real minutes earlier can become almost impossible to reconstruct. An entire world can exist inside your consciousness and disappear before breakfast. Tonight, it will probably happen again. You will lie down. Close your eyes. At some point, without noticing when it happens, the world around you will disappear, and another one may take its place. You might see somebody you have not seen in 20 years. You might walk through a city that does not exist. You might run from something impossible. You might hear a sound from the real world and watch your brain turn it into part of the dream. You might wake up only to discover that you never woke up at all. Or you might realize that you're dreaming while the world is still happening around you. We still do not completely understand why we dream. Maybe dreams help organize memories. Maybe they help regulate emotion. Maybe they simulate possibilities. Maybe some are simply the strange side effects of a sleeping brain doing many different things at once. The answer may not be one thing. But perhaps we made a mistake when we decided dreams were unimportant simply because they were not real. Because every night something extraordinary happens. Your body becomes still, the outside world fades, and your brain begins creating. People, places, danger, love, memories, fear, stories, entire realities. Then it places a version of you inside them, hides the fact that it created everything, and waits to see if you notice. Most nights, you don't.